Hey guys, Garrett Thill here with DMA Real Estate, and today we are going to talk about 10 questions that you should be asking your buyer's agent before you hire them. All right, question number one that you should be asking your buyer's agent when you meet them at that buyer's consultation. Why did you get into real estate? Now, this is an important question because it's going to tell you a lot about them personally as a person versus just a real estate agent. You'll get to know them a little bit better that way. You'll get to know their background, and it'll just help communication better along throughout the whole entire process to know exactly what their why is, what their motivation was to get into real estate. All right, the second question that you want to ask your agent is how many clients do you have that you're currently working with? And the answer could be one, it could be easily 20 clients that they're working with at one time. So what's better? Do you want an agent that has 1 or 20? Well, there's some kind of pros and cons with each one, right? So if the agent has 20, at first it's going to sound, oh my gosh, we're one of 20. Well, that might be a good thing. That agent that has 20 clients at one time is probably pretty successful. They probably have a lot of strategies. They have systems and procedures in place that they're able to do that and work with that many clients at one time, and they're pretty popular for a reason. So that might not necessarily be a bad thing. If your agent has maybe, let's say they say, you're our only client, you're going to get all of our time and attention. Well, that might be a little bit of a warning sign. Also, when agents are working on commission, let's say you're the only deal and that's going to put the food on their table for the next month. Well, let's say there's some kind of a thing that breaks down throughout the process, and all of a sudden they're trying to save a deal that you guys just don't want the house anymore. Maybe the home inspection went bad and they're doing everything in their power to try to save the deal. That's probably not going to be in your best interest. So always important to ask again, how many clients are you working with currently? All right, the third question to ask your agent is, are you guys a team model or are you an individual agent? Very important. It's actually becoming a very, very popular model these days, is to have an office in a real estate world that is a team-based. Now, team-based, you're gonna get a lot more support, a lot more client care, versus an individual. It's very important to know that you only have that one person to talk to and one person to go to. And if they're busy or out of town, then you're kind of out of luck. That team model is becoming very popular, so it's very important to know when you're hiring an agent if they're working as a team or if they're an individual agent. Question number 4 that you want to ask your buyer's agent: what areas do you primarily work in? Now, it's important, most agents are going to work the entire county. However, there are some agents that don't want to work in certain areas, maybe the southern portion of the county or the northern portion of the county, just because it's farther away from their home, farther away from their office. And the last thing that you want to do is, let's say you're buying a home in the very north end of the county and the client and your agent works in the southern end of the county. Well, they may show you houses, but they may not be that eager to show you properties. It may take them some more time because of the driving that's involved. So make sure that you ask your agent what areas that they work in primarily for their business. That way you know that they'll be readily available to show you properties in the areas that you're interested in buying in. Okay, number 5, you need to ask your agent what sets you apart from other real estate agents. Now, it can be very difficult in this day and age. We're in 2019. Agents can be very similar. They all have reviews of each other, of different clients that are giving them reviews. But it's very, very important to ask them what sets them apart. And your agent should have an immediate answer of exactly what they do. I do A, B, and C different from other agents. They should be chomping at the bit to answer that question because they're so excited. So if you have an agent that you ask them that question and they don't really have an answer to that, then that's I would have a little bit of hesitation and make sure that you have an agent that's going to be aggressive, not that's passive and just waiting kind of for deals to come through and for listings to come up for you, but that they are very proactive in what they do and they're in their search for you and buying a house. All right, number 6 to ask your buyer's agent during that interview when you guys are sitting down for that buyer's consultation is, how does your fee structure work? Which you probably heard that typically buyer's agents get paid by the seller and you as a buyer don't have to pay a commission. Well, that's generally true. However, you do want to make sure there are also sometimes fees that will be involved that a buyer's agent will charge or the brokerage will charge. Things like administrative fees or transaction coordinator fees, also known as, you may see them, they're called TC fees. Very important to know what you're paying. Also, doesn't hurt too if they do have that TC fee or an administrative task fee, ask them to waive it. Doesn't hurt. They may say no, they may say yes, but it doesn't hurt to ask if they can waive that fee for you. All right, number 7 is, after hearing all my needs, what is the next step that we're going to take, or what is your strategy for me as a buyer of what steps we're going to take. Now, when you're having that sit-down consultation and you're asking this as one of the final questions, your agent probably is already buzzing with ideas of different ways they're going to get you a house. So you want to make sure that they're not just going to say, well, I'm going to set you up on an e-alert where you're going to get emails of new listings. No, you want to make sure that an agent is going to have proactive ways to go search for a house for you. It may involve mailers, it may involve door knocking, it may involve going to broker open houses, a slew of different items that could be out there, but very, very important to know what their strategy is. And their strategy for you might be different for a strategy for another client that they have. So very important to know kind of what your agent's going to be doing in the background after you leave that meeting. So Mr. or Mrs. Agent, how will we be communicating? Very important to have that up front. You know, most relationships will actually break down due to lack of communication. So it's very important to know how your realtor is going to be communicating with you, if they're going to be giving you phone calls, text, if they're going to be calling you every Friday night at 6 p.m., whatever that is, that needs to be known up front. And it also doesn't hurt to tell them what your expectations are of communication. If you prefer, long, lengthy texts or just a short text message, what your hours of work are, if it's okay to call you during work, make sure that that expectation gets set up front between you and your agent so that there's no breakdown of communication later on in the process and create not a very fun experience when there's a lack of communication. So make sure that communication is fluid the entire process and that you're not just going to be set up on an e-alert and then kind of forgotten about. All right, the last question number 10 is, what questions do you have of me, Mr. or Mrs. Agent? And this is actually could be the most important question. If you're sitting in an interview and the employer says, do you have any questions for us? And if you say no, it might show that you're not very interested, that you're kind of, you have some kind of disinterest in the company. So you want to make sure that your realtor has questions for you as a buyer. So the last thing that you want to leave is having your agent saying, okay, we're going to set you up on an e-alert and just look out for those emails. No, we want the client and agent to have a very good communication and very good interest in each other and making sure that we can succeed with all expectations that are set out on the table. So again, that last question to ask is, what questions do you have of me, Mr. or Mrs. Agent? And they probably will have some more questions, things like, have you seen homes in the past? If so, have you put any offers on? Why were your offers not accepted? Have you gone to open houses before? What do you know about the home buying experience? How did you come up with your price range? Which lender are you using? A slew of different questions they'll probably have to make sure they are interested and they know exactly what's going on, and they want to be proactive in your search. So that is it for today. Look forward to seeing you guys on the next video. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.